We have some huge breaking news from Vancouver tonight. It looks as though Quinn Hughes and Elias Pettersson are extremely close to getting their contracts done. How much are they going to get? When will they show up at camp? We'll discuss all that coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have some pretty huge breaking news out of Vancouver tonight. Of course, as we know, we have 3 remaining restricted free agents across the NHL that remain unsigned. 2 of them, both cornerstone pieces in the Canucks organization, are remaining unsigned as of right now. Quinn Hughes and Elias Pettersson, though, do appear to be closing in and likely getting a signing completed either tonight or early tomorrow. These deals likely will be announced here very, very shortly. Word is they're grinding away on the last couple details here to get everything finalized. But we've heard from a variety of the local Vancouver media tonight, including Thomas Drance, Rick Dhaliwal, Shea, and others. I know they're talking about it currently on Sportsnet 650 on the radio, going over the details here. But as of right now, what we know is Quinn Hughes appears to be signing a 6-year contract valued around $7.75 million. To me, that's a pretty fair contract. Obviously, with Hughes, you're only getting 1 UFA year because obviously he has what is equivalent to 2 full NHL seasons under his belt right now. So obviously, he would be 5 more years in before he'd be an unrestricted free agent. So considering you're getting him for 6 years, one of those being a UFA year, I think it's a pretty fair contract. I think we all do know that Quinn Hughes is really, really solid. Offensively, he's a great passer, but he does need to continue to get better defensively. That's certainly an area of his game that needs to get better. One of my bigger concerns for Hughes isn't so much himself, but who his defense partner is going to be. Of course, he was paired originally with Chris Tanev. That worked out pretty well. Last year, he played with Travis Hamonic. Now, this year, we really don't know who he's going to play with because we don't know the status of Travis Hamonic and if he's going to play or not. He did sign a 2-year deal at $3 million per season, and if he decides to play, then he could very well be a good stabilizing factor for Hughes. But he remains unvaccinated and really unclear what he's going to do, which we should know the answer to that in the next 24 hours here, because tomorrow is the deadline for opting out. So we'll see what ends up happening with Hamonic. Will he be traded? Will he opt out? Will he decide to play? I really don't know how this is going to work for Vancouver, but this is another big factor here that is needing to be decided upon. And if Quinn Hughes doesn't get the right partner, it's certainly going to impact how he plays, and it could really impact how his contract ends up looking both short-term and longer-term. But overall, based on his talents, his skills, his offensive zone entries, everything you look at it, to me, this is a pretty good, solid value. He's one of the better offensive D-men around the league, very dynamic skater. But like I said, most of these young D-men are all in the same boat. They need to get better defensively. When it comes to Elias Pettersson, he's expected to be signing a 3-year bridge deal just shy of $8 million. So it looks like it's going to be around 7.8 or 7.8 and change, something to that effect. We're waiting for those final key details to be released here and officially announced by the Canucks organization. But to get a top 10 elite offensive center in the NHL under $8 million to me is a pretty good deal. I know ideally they would have liked to have locked both of these guys up from 6 to 8 years because they don't get any cheaper as time goes on because they're an elite talent that are only going to continue to get better. And as the team gets better, their production is going to get better and they're going to become more expensive to sign later on. But clearly they don't have the space to do that right now. The number for Pettersson on an 8-year deal would be much higher than $8 million, and getting that done would just be too complicated. However, based on that AAV for 3 years, to me is pretty good. They're buying out some RFA years. He'll still be RFA for 1 more year after the end of that contract. That gives them enough flexibility here between these 2 contracts to hopefully be able to look after guys like Brock Besser, JT Miller. They're going to be coming up here in the very near future as well. So that's important. They have to plan ahead, and clearly they've kind of put themselves in their own doing here with, not the greatest managed cap-wise when it comes to all those other bottom 6 expensive deals that they finally were able to shed a lot of this year, but now they get the Oliver Ekman-Larsson contract. It's just going to be tough for them to manage everything, so they need to be able to be very smart moving forward and try to avoid some of those mistakes they've made in the past with a lot of those vets that they signed for really not great deals. So Pettersson and Hughes are likely going to be heading to Vancouver tomorrow. I would expect that the Canucks will likely make an official announcement sometime tomorrow. Canucks media is reporting tonight that it's very unlikely that we're going to get these officially signed, sealed, delivered, announced tonight, but we are trending in that direction, and it's just putting the final few details here before a pen to paper happens and we have an official signing. But this is very, very good news for these guys that will leave Brady Tkachuk as the lone remaining unsigned player. Obviously, I think these contracts will obviously have an impact on Brady's deal getting done as well. Obviously, Pettersson is a center, Tkachuk's a winger, but still, if you look at the numbers and with the other deals we've seen this offseason, it seems like the main sticking point when it comes to Tkachuk is he wants signing bonus. Ottawa's reluctant to give them because that's just how they do business, which is unfortunate for everybody involved, really. But I'll be curious to see the structure on these contracts. I know Elliot Friedman mentioned one of the biggest sticking points in the Pettersson contract negotiations, which makes a ton of sense, is the third year of this 3-year deal, because that'll be what the qualifying offer has to be based on. So obviously you'll have a different salary each year, even though the AAV is going to be somewhere shy of $8 million. Obviously, the actual dollars paid will be different each year. Wouldn't be surprising if year 3 is around 9.5, 9.75, something like that. I know, look at the Matthew Tkachuk contract in Calgary. He's entering the final year of his deal, where his third year was paying him $9 million. And that's kind of where he's heading. And it was Friedman mentioned that they were looking to do better than that. So it likely is going to be the case. I mean, that's what you see when these bridge deals, is that final year determines where the next contract starts, as long as they live up to the hype, that is. Otherwise, the team can decide not to qualify them. But when it comes to these types of players, that's generally not going to happen. So we'll be curious to get those final details. Let me know what you think on these contracts here so far, based on what we have here for information so far. But to me, it's a huge point here for the Canucks to get these guys signed. We still have plenty of time for them to get to training camp, have around 10, 11 days or whatever it is to be able to get themselves up to snuff with the systems, get themselves training more and more, and maybe even get a game or two in a preseason action before everything's ready to roll, before we get to the point that the regular season starts and it counts. So this is huge, and hopefully this influences the Tkachuk contract, and we can get all the RFAs signed and sealed and delivered, and actually have everybody have all their guys ready to go when the season starts. So let me know your thoughts on these contracts in the comments below. We'll discuss further. If you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with all the latest news, rumors, and analysis on all 32 NHL teams. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.